I know, right? Who'd have thought that I'd have got live 2 minutes early? It's a bizarre one, I know. I'm just sweat out my sands. It's really weird. I don't know why, but for some reason, it does the visuals the opposite way around when I'm doing it with Graham. So, okay, let's get myself sorted. So it's a enthralling start to today's episode of just me chatting away. Oh, I can hear Delaney kicking off outside with the dog. Okay, let's check. You can hear me all right. I'm actually running with my AirPods today, so I'll see if that's okay and you can hear me all right. I'm sure somebody's going to highlight it. I thought we'd start off with a game today. So good evening, Morris, Rachel, Diane, Rachel again, David, Rachel again, Rachel a fourth time. Come on, Rachel, stop hogging the news feed. There's other people here. Okay, I might actually just take one out because I can hear myself as well, which is clear. So hopefully you can hear me. Can everyone hear me okay? I'm sure somebody will tell me if they cannot. Dave and Cheryl, hello Dave. I hope you guys are well and doing okay through lockdown. So it's 8 o'clock, spot on time. Let's get started. So I thought, like I say, we'd start. Oh, sorry, the dog's just come flying in because and yeah. Okay, that's cool. I'll keep an eye on them and I'll take them out in a bit. Okay. I'm on my join Joel before you start swearing and shouting at me, just to give you a heads up. Carry on.
I found a random clue that no one has been. So
oh, that's cool.
I don't know if it's just been
no worries. All right, we'll have a look. The joys of puppying is trying to get him to go to the toilet outside and get toilet training really down pat. So we're kind of getting there, but slowly. So yeah. Okay, we'll play a very quick game. Where do you think I am today? Obviously gives it away slightly. I must be at home. I assume I'm at home because Delaney's obviously just walked past and had a conversation with me. But where do you think I'm sat? Thought this is going to be the highlight of the night, guys. So make sure you throw some comments at it. There's a few different places I've sat previously. Where do you think I am this evening? It's going to be a very long 45 minutes. Okay, whilst I'm waiting for those to come up. So, yep, in the kitchen. Oh, that's a good one. I've not actually done a join Joel from the kitchen yet, I don't think I've done any from the kitchen. I really enjoyed doing them outside last year in the summer. I must admit, so I'll definitely do them outside in the office on a toilet. That would be amazing. That would absolutely be cool. I did say that at some point I should do one from the hot tub, but I'm really worried about my Mac. Definitely not in the Conservatory Teresa because I wouldn't have short sleeves on for a start. It's freezing in there, absolutely freezing. And no, I'm not in the hot tub either, but I have been in the hot tub already this evening. So I've been in and got out about half an hour ago. I'm ready for this. Do you know what? It's really not that exciting. I said that. It'd be really weird if I was in the hot tub dressed. It's not that exciting now. I'm just sat in the dining room. So I thought I'd do it out by the dining room this evening. Let me just get rid of the backdrop and I can see what's going on. Yeah, no, I've already been in, had some real first world problems this week, so I'll chat a little bit about that. Had what I think was a really exciting meeting today. I don't think most people get very excited by this. It's a bit of a bizarre one, but it's yeah, like I said, it was a really exciting one. I know Lauren really enjoyed the meeting as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that. My new company is moving on quite nicely. It's progressing in kind of the way that I'd like it to, and it's certainly, I'm having good planning sessions for it. I think that's probably where we are at the moment. And yeah, it's starting to develop and evolve, and I'm very excited about that. We're obviously still on lockdown. The prison's looking really good. Both the prisons are looking really good. The interpretation spaces are moving along. We're hoping to get the work started on the visitor centre very shortly. So yeah, so various bits and pieces. Well, I don't know if anyone's got anywhere specifically they want me to start. Maybe I'll start. Should I start on my first world problems? This will probably take 45 minutes in itself. So first world problems. I'm going to do a video on this, but I like to kind of drop them into Join Joel first. If you noticed last week, I obviously spoke about New Year's resolutions, and then I did an actual video on it separately. So you guys kind of almost the I'd say the test subjects, but I think you get early release of the content. So I was running on my treadmill on, day is it today? It's Thursday day, Tuesday. So having a run, as I think you know, I'm obviously trying to, well, I am certainly getting healthier and certainly running quite regularly, running pretty much every day, taking one rest day a week and doing somewhere between 4 and 7 miles, depending on how I feel, how comfortable I am. So I was 5.5 miles into what was going to be a 6-mile run. So I only had about, I had about sort of 4 minutes or so left to go, 4 or 5 minutes left on the treadmill. I'm very comfortable. I was watching something. So yeah, I was quite happy. And all of a sudden, power cuts out of the treadmill. Lights go out because the power cuts out there. The room behind me, the lights go out because obviously all the power's in the same fuse. And treadmill goes from, I think I was running about 6.5, 6.6 miles an hour and just suddenly dead stop. I go flying forwards, then flying backwards. It's pitch black. I can't see anything. I'm slipping. Oh my God. So I was like, oh, for God's sakes. And then, yeah, lo and behold, through a process of elimination over the next 20 minutes of flipping on and off fuses and switches and stuff, we established that the reason for the trip, and it continuously kept tripping as well when we turned it back on, was the treadmill. Took the cover off it. Obviously, I was quite annoyed because I hadn't quite finished my run, so that didn't set me up particularly right. Took the cover off the treadmill, and again was looking at some YouTube videos about what could be wrong. And lo and behold, it looked like the motor was basically sparking away. Whenever you turn it on, it just trips straight out. So that wasn't ideal. And yeah, so now we have to get that fixed. I guess that's going to be a bit of a challenge because we can get the company that we bought it from will come out and do maintenance and servicing and stuff, but I don't know when they'll be able to do it. So I was like, crap, what are we going to do? How are we going to run? How are we going to exercise? It's a bit dark and it's a bit cold and it's a bit damp and icy to be sort of running around outside, especially because I do it in the evenings. When I get back from work and Emma's in the morning. So we're generally running in the dark now anyway. Fortunately, I've got a turbo trainer. So I grabbed my turbo trainer and I set my road bike up on my turbo trainer. And that's what I've been going on for the last 2 days. But it's very different cycling to running. So I'm thankful I'm able to get my exercise in, but it's a very different style of exercise. So yeah, first world problems. I'm gonna drop something in on that, I guess. So Harriet came in the other week. I think it was the first day of lockdown, or it was the day before lockdown had started, but it had been announced it was going to happen. So I think it was the Wednesday in between the announcement from Tuesday and the Thursday actual lockdown. And she was due to have some work done on her house, and they basically came. They said they couldn't do. Sorry, just reading Morris's comment. She was going to have some work done on her house. And she basically went to the builders were coming in to do it, and they rang her in that morning. They were supposed to come in and said, no, because of lockdown, we're not going to come. And she was really, it was quite a difficult one for her because it was something that she wanted to get done. It was something she needed to get done to the house. It wasn't life or death any more than my treadmill is life or death. And let's put that into perspective. You know, my hot tub blew up before Christmas. My treadmill's blown up now. None of this is life or death. But they are what we refer to as first world problems. However, I see a first world problem as still a real problem. And it's not because some people would look at it and go, well, oh, your treadmill's broken. Oh no, your hot tub's broken. Oh, what a disaster. And I understand what people are saying about that, but it's a real problem for me. And that real problem for me then has an impact on my life and has an impact on things that happen and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go into that too much today. So just because of the fact that I've got a problem that a lot of people would look at and go, well, that's not really a problem, doesn't make it any less of an issue for me. So yeah, it's just a varying, and I'd be interested to hear people's thoughts on that. But because I have had, I've spoken to different people. There are various different people I know. There are various different issues and challenges and problems at the moment, obviously with COVID and lockdown and stuff like that. So yeah, so on and so forth. I'm gonna do more of a video on that. So anyway, sorry, I sort of got distracted then into the comments. As Rachel was asking why I don't run outside, predominantly because I run in the evenings when it's dark. Emma runs in the mornings when it's dark. We live in a village in the middle of nowhere. So there's no street lights or anything like that. where it's quite icy, where we like to run around the village actually as we go out the village and we go through all the fields and off-road and stuff like that in the summer. So yeah, it's just a bit hairy, to be honest, but it's a bit dangerous running around outside in the dark with no street lights, even with a torch. It's slippery, it's muddy and stuff like that. So that's why. I mean, we could run outside, but I've got a turbo trainer, so I just use that instead. And Emma's doing exercise in the house. So yeah, so that was that one. Where do you want me to go next? Should we talk about my interesting meeting today, my exciting meeting that no one else is going to find exciting but me? But that's the kind of sad person I am, I guess. So also, I'm only going to be here till about 8:30 tonight because I promised my wife that I would make her a specific dinner this evening. So she's up putting the kids to bed, and I'm going to then go and make dinner. Right, Rachel's just put a comment up. Totally agree with me. Her cooker broke last week. Can't get it fixed till the 19th due to the company having low staff on duty. Now that is a real problem. That's not a first world problem. That's a serious problem because if your cooker breaks, you can't cook. Do you know what I mean? You're like, how do you do that? So you know, it is harder. I guess if our cooker broke, our cooker's electric, we would get the gas stove out from the camping stove, and we'd do it like that, or we'd have to think around. But our cooker and our hob's both electric, so we'd have to get the gas cooker out and stuff like that, or barbecue, which in the winter's not ideal. So yeah, it's those things. Let's have a quick look. Tea or coffee? Drinking tea this evening. Reading is back up for sale. It is. Well, it kind of is. So if you've got a link there, Laurie, ping it over to me if you've seen a link. But what happened was the successful bidder pulled out. So they are going to put it back up on the market, but they've actually given Reading Council first dibs at putting in a bid. So they've put that in, or they will be putting in a bid. I have had a brief conversation with Reading Council, a couple of conversations with Reading Council about their plans, what they'd like to do, where we could potentially help and support that. And that's really that's as far as it's gone at the moment. Nothing more than just a couple of email conversations. And I'm sure that we will hear more from them in shortly, whenever they come up with their plans around what they'd like to do and whether there's anything in there for us to support with, any opportunities, any kind of things like that. So we'll just see what happens, but there's no guarantee that the council will win the bid. The thing with Reading is it's going to be a costly development. It's a big development, and I don't think it's right just as a tourist attraction. It would have to be more to it than that. So it's a big piece on it. People are saying there's an interesting piece in the Times today, so I don't know if that was about Reading. I have a quick look on the internet. Let me have a quick look. But yeah, so I have sort of had some conversations. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, can't see on the top of it. Anyway, so we'll just see what happens. But you know, I'm busy enough as it is with the two prisons I've got. As I've been saying for a little while, I want to diversify the portfolio anyway. Django, what are you doing? I want to diversify the portfolio. So actually spreading beyond tourist attractions is a current plan for me anyway. Still looking at Castle, but again, you know, there's lots of pans in fires and lots of things that will, I'm sure, unfold over time. Some will, some won't. There was something that was launched this week that was really interesting, which was about the redevelopment of a specific area. I'd done some work on that, and I'd spoken to the guys doing the audits on that and doing the preparation documents for it and the planning documents for it. And I'd said I'd be really interested in that building. I'd be really interested in this building. And when they said, what would you do? I told them exactly what I would do with it and how I would make it work and stuff. And lo and behold, the plans came out to the public, and it said, this is what we propose to do with this building. I was like, wow, that is word for word what I said to you. And it was interesting because I was like, oh God, should I be offended by that? No, I was like, no, I've got to be proud about that. Like, the fact that they think my idea is that good, that they've put that forwards. What's that dog doing? They've put that forwards as a plan. The fact they've like possibly written off as theirs. Just see what the dog's doing. Sorry. Is a bit near here there, but yeah, so that's good. Oh, you're talking about the piece that was in the Times. I thought it was in the Daily Mail. That came out today. I've got it here. I can share it with you. It was on the Mail Online. So the Mail did a piece about how much it's costing to keep Reading open, and or keep Reading closed, keep it mothballed effectively. And it talked very positively about, oh, what's gone wrong there? It talks very positively about what we're doing at Shrewsbury and Shepton. Oh, I've missed the comments, sorry. There we go. So yeah, so that was, what's going on? Sorry, I'm getting all distracted inside. Okay. Yes, that was in the Mail. And we were aware of that article. They spoke to us before they published it. They asked a few questions. That's how they got some of the figures. If that's one you're talking about, which talks about the jails and talks about Shrewsbury and Shepton and I think Gloucester as well, then actually they spoke to us beforehand. So that's quite cool. Yeah, that's it. Reading and Camp Hill, 3.2 million. Morris has seen it. So yeah, very positive piece. If you look on our Facebook page, on the Shrewsbury Prison page or the Shepton Mallet page, you'll see the links. You'll see what we commented about it. And yeah, I think it just goes, it's just testament to what we do and how it works. And what's interesting about that is, and I've still got the document, so I will share it at some point, is when they first all put the prisons up for sale, they got a company called Purcell's to do a to do basically a, what's the word for it? They did effectively like a survey around the site and look at future uses and potential usage. And the only usage they put forward was all about residential. And it's just funny that how, even though all these jails had only residential as the viable use, the only two that are being used right now, the only two that are doing anything that have a future at this present time are two tourist attractions run by the same companies. So it's you know, I just don't buy it. When I read the piece that said the government had made like 131 million, I just didn't buy that bullshit at all. I've got it here. I'll find it a sec. It's just here in front of me. The government reckon that they raised 131 million under the program which was begun by David Cameron. That's fucking horseshit. I mean, seriously, that's proper swearing for me now. That is absolute, utter bollocks. There is no way they raised 131 million through the disposals of prisons. And I know that pretty much for a hard, ironclad fact. And I can tell you the reasons why. And this is public knowledge, so you can go and search it. So I'm not speaking out of turn. You can research this. They sold Holloway recently for 81 million. So that's 81 million of your 131. They sold 4 of the other prisons that closed for 5 million quid. So that's 86 million. They sold Shrewsbury for £1 million, so that's 87 million. They've obviously held on to Reading, so they've not sold that or anything yet. I think they sold a couple of others, but again, they were around the £1 million mark. So you're talking about 90 million quid is what they generated from selling the prisons, 81 of which came from the sale of one jail. So yeah, so they've done, it's mental. So 90 million, and that doesn't include any costs that they've incurred through the agents, through the surveyors, through all the things they had to do on the journey to get there. So the fact they're saying 131 is absolute horseshit. And again, I can further sort of back it up, because when Shrewsbury was bought originally, it was £1 million, and I'd probably been there. So we took over 2015, and I'd been there maybe 2 months since we'd taken it over. And we had another prison come to us and ask if they could buy the railway track that was in the jail. And that was it. And I was just like, this is mad. The government recently sold this, like literally like 12 months ago, the government sold it. And here you are 12 months later trying to buy bits back. And I was like, there's no way that makes sense. So yeah, so that's yeah, like I said. Anyway, I'm ranting a little bit here. So today had an interesting meeting whilst we're on jails. We had a company come out to do a survey on all the doors for all the locks, because we are looking at relocking the prison. Now I'm excited by that for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's going to be so super secure. I mean, it is secure at the moment because we use chains and padlocks and stuff, but these locks are insane. I mean, those of you who've visited, you'll see the holes in the doors. You'll see the size of them. I mean, there's different levels of security locks you can get, actually, or you can't get, because you can't buy these locks on the open market unless you've got a custodial license. but there's different locks. So the most secure lock you can get is a prison cell, effectively. Then it's all the rest of the main gates in the jail, so all the exterior gates and doors and stuff like that. Everything that's a double gate, as they call it. So it's got a door and a gate, and those gates would have 2 locks in, and the door would have 1. So you've got 3 locks just to get through it. So that's like a level 2 lock, and a level 3, which is like all the offices and rooms and stores and stuff like that. So I had the guys come out today and basically start looking at everything. So relocking the entire jail. So like I say, firstly, it'll be so super secure. Secondly, it will look amazing. It will look just like a proper real prison, because they're real prison locks taken out of real prisons. Locking mechanisms exchanged for a different one. In they go, and yeah, it's just looking good. So really looking forward to getting the quotations for that. I think it's gonna be quite expensive. Wouldn't surprise me if the quote for I think the quotes for the jail locks are probably gonna be somewhere in the region about 35,000. And I know it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? 35 grand for locks, but these are, you can't just buy these from anywhere. You have to get them from there's literally 2 or 3 suppliers you can get them from. You have to have them at a certain level because of the security aspect. I mean, the locks each, I think the locks themselves are like 630 quid each. And then you got to pay for the keys as well, so they're like, I don't know, 30, 40 quid a piece. So it's a lot. Yeah, Morris is saying and the rest, but it's because what we're doing with the prison cells is we can't actually put locks on the prison cells. We can just put the bolts on the actual locking units, so they're a little bit cheaper. But yeah, it's going to be about 35k. But when you relock an entire jail, so if we relocked Shrewsbury Prison, swapped the existing locks that were there for exactly the same locks that were, just a different key, it's about 200 grand. So we're not doing quite all of it, but we're doing a good chunk of it. So yeah, so that was my meeting today. I mean, Lauren actually did most of the meeting. I only came down briefly, and she did most of that. We're getting a new visitor centre going. They've got work going on at Shepton. I don't think the people in Shepton are going to be very happy with this, because they've got to dig up a load of the road around the jail. I think they've got to dig up 240 metres of road to install new cables for us. So that's not going to be overly popular. So yeah, I'm just going to have a flick through the comments. Darren saying, instead of doing night behind bars, it'd be great to do a day behind bars. So instead of insights with day of a prisoner, that's kind of what the tours are, really. I mean, that's what you can do on a self-guided. We did do day in the life of a prisoner before, where people came in for 12 hours during the day. It just didn't work. It just did not work. It wasn't fun or exciting. It wasn't really an experience that people wanted. The thing with doing night behind bars, it's because it's nighttime, it's eerie, it's scary, it's got a huge atmosphere to it. It's not quite the same during the day. And yeah, like I say, that's the experience you get with doing the guided tours and the self-guided tours and stuff like that. So that's why we don't do it that way. I don't know what I was talking about today. I've got about 9 minutes left. For those of you who saw Graham's live, I thought Graham did a great show on Wednesday. So that was yesterday. So yeah, I really enjoyed Graham's show yesterday. We got into the new studio, which is good. I might do a Join Joel from in there at some point, but to be honest, I'm not really studio based for that. I've got a new show coming soon, which again, I'm really looking forward to getting going. It's just finding some time now to sketch it all in, which is loosely titled The Business Meeting, which is all about me speaking to other business owners, entrepreneurs, about how they got started, what they've done, their experiences and stuff like that. Not me talking about me talking about them. So all those kind of things. Yeah, Graham's video's up. If you missed Graham's video, it is on the Shrewsbury Prison Facebook page. It's on the Shepton Mallet Prison page. It's on Graham's page. I believe it's on YouTube. It's not up yet. It should be very, very soon, but I think it's up. It was a really good one. It was really difficult to do because it was all about infamous prisoners. And unfortunately, it's just the way it is about that subject. It was, talking about prisoners that have committed some horrific crimes. So we dealt with the subject matter in a very different way to how we normally do, because obviously we're trying to be extremely sensitive and careful and cautious about it for everybody that had been affected by it and stuff like that. And also, I was massively out of my depth, because with Graham's show, I kind of co-host that one. But kind of I co-host and produce it in the background. Graham's very much the host. It's his show, and I'm just the person that keeps kind of the back end of it sort of ticking along, really. but yes, it was all about that, and I was really out of my depth because a lot of these prisoners I either don't know about, or I don't know masses of their history. So I was tapping away and sort of trying to keep up on top of it as we go. Others I feel very strongly about myself, and I don't have quite the same thing as Graham. Graham's very good at separating himself from the crime and the criminal and the victim, and looking at it from a, I guess, a custodial perspective of having to look after these people. I don't see that. So when we talk about the Ian Huntleys of this world, Graham has his perspective on it from a prison officer world, and he's been doing that for years, so that's naturally how he looks at it. And I look at it from a parental side and just going, like, this is an evil motherfucker. So it was a really difficult show from that perspective, but it was really good, and Graham's brilliant as always. Paul's asking, did you have images? Do I have images in your studio? I do have some images in your studio. I'm not sure I'm going to share them just yet. I'll tell you why in a second. You also asked if the tech was better. Yes, it was better. And Paul and I have actually been talking, because I was chatting to him just via messaging, because we're looking at how we do the tech going forwards. I want to bring somebody in to do the tech side of things. I get bits of it, but I'm not overly efficient on it. I think somebody else who understands it, has a real skill set, and can bring a huge amount of value that I can't offer. So the way we do Graham's show is basically we have a camera in front, although the camera is actually in a Thunderbolt display screen. This won't mean a lot to some of you, but Paul will absolutely get this. So I use a Thunderbolt display screen connected into my Mac. The camera on that is picking up Graham, backdropped into a big green screen. It's a huge green wall, in fact, now in the new studio. So it's much bigger. He's got a lot of space to move around. On the screen, I put up the page so he can see it live and he can see what the backdrops are. And then as we're going through, I will then change out the backdrops for him. And we obviously have conversations and meetings before, not very long meetings, I've got to be honest, like 5 minutes before, talking about which kind of order we're going to put things up and just a flow of how things are going to go. But Graham and I gel very well in that sense. So I'll do that aspect, and that's on my left-hand side, facing Graham, and I'll stand here, I'll sit here, and Graham's like over there and in front. And then to my right hand side, I've got the sound desk, which the mics are all wired into basically. And I will then obviously control the sound from there. That's jacked into my computer. So when I feed it through Zoom, everything comes in. It's pretty seamless, and it works really, really well. We've got a decent, strong internet connection. When we did it on Saturday, it's a little bit different, because what we you're going to love this one. What we do when we do the lives in the prison, because we need to use more cameras, is we use the CCTV cameras. So we've got a few CCTV sets, but we've got a Swan setup, really nice, I think 4K cameras, really decent cameras with night vision, are really good quality. They just run off a Cat5 cable, basically. It gives them the power and obviously the feed, come back into the hub, so into the box. Plug all those in, plug that into a decent sized TV screen, and then, because I can't get that then flowing right, what I do is I connect my phone. I basically put my phone in front of the TV screen, line it up to frame the screen, press live on my phone, straight into Facebook. So it's actually filming a TV screen, which is why it looks a little bit speckly. And then obviously I can then adjust the cameras on the TV screen, and the phone just picks it up. And then what we do is I still use the same soundboard, the same sound desk, and we jack in all the microphones for all the different people using it, and then just do an out into my phone. And that's where the sound problems were coming, because the cable connecting the sound desk into my phone is a bit of a dodgy connection. It's just because it's a couple of cables, because obviously I have to use a different adapter to go into my phone. Then comes out the desk, and they have to be resting on something. If there's any pressure on them, then it goes warpy, which is why I did that. Unfortunately, what we get on that sense, because the picture's coming through completely separately from the sound, is we get that lag. You don't notice it as much on the CCTV because it's nighttime, it's dark, and obviously there's a fair bit going on. Everyone's watching the screen, so don't notice the lag as much. But that's the issue. And what I really want to do is stream the cameras straight into a computer along with the sound, so it's seamless, and then ping it up on live there. Pre-recorded stuff's a cinch, it's a doddle. It's the live stuff that's quite challenging. So yeah, so that's some of the tech problems we have. And like I said, I don't know enough about tech to bring it to improve it. I do know what we need to do is switch. Certainly in the studio, we're going to buy 2 or 3 cameras decent cameras to film everything in there to do the podcast and the vlogcast and stuff like that. And obviously we'll look at the soundboard and make sure we can seamlessly make all of that work. And then we don't have to use a screen in the same way. And we'll have a separate screen that people can view what's going on at the same time. So that'll be quite cool as we go forwards. But like I say, that's going to take a techie person that has more of a understanding than I do, which is my next port of call. To find a techie, a studio engineer, I should say, if I was going to talk about it, I believe, in the right context. And then obviously it's about how you connect it into how you connect online, who controls what bit, how that all goes. But that should free me up to do a bit more production and presenting, which I prefer to do. Anyway, I've ranted, I've raved. That's half an hour. I do have to go make dinner. I think you're going to do well. Yeah, it was, like I say, really enjoyed that live. I think what we're doing this week. Yeah, like I say, it's Graham's show, so he very much drives that. And we have a discussion always afterwards about what we're going to do the subjects on and how it went, and we have a quick session afterwards just to discuss it. But it's very much Graham's show. I'm just there to support it. I think next week is, I can't remember, but I think execution's coming up maybe the week after. So right, is there anything else anybody else would like to ask before I scaramouche and do the Fandango? No. Cool. Like I say, not there's a lot happening this week, but I'm just concentrating on my goals at the moment. Concentrating on obviously the businesses, getting those moving. Obviously, COVID is what it is. Not eating sugar. I'm going to be brutally honest now. Really could do with like a beer or I'd love to have a rum. Would love to have a rum right now. And also it'd be quite nice actually to have like a couple of biscuits or like something like that. So yeah, certainly not eating any sugar, any chocolate or anything like that, or any crisps or anything like that, and not drinking. So yeah, so still plowing on with that, and I'll make it through the month without any issues, but I'll make it through the month certainly. So right, I'm gonna crack on. And I'll catch up with you guys next Thursday, but I am starting to put stuff out on social media again now, so you should see more of my ugly mug as we go throughout the week. So cool. Take care. Thank you for listening. And I'll catch up with you. And yes, Emma is doing it with me. And I'll catch up with you next week. Take care, everybody.